Here we have Ananthanarayanan V, founder and CEO, Tech Divine Creative Services. 13 plus years of corporate and professional entrepreneurship experience. Most influential digital marketing leaders 2016, awarded by CMO Asia and World Marketing Congress. Best Digital Marketing Professional in India, awarded by CMO Council and World Marketing Congress. Winner of Global Peter Drucker Challenge Entrepreneurs category across 40 countries, interviewed by BBC Business Worldwide New Money and Finance. At GPDF 14 in Vienna, Austria, Global Business Young Horizons. Published 3 books, one of which was covered by the Times of India team in Mumbai. Anant is a 3-time global award-winning digital marketing professional, entrepreneur, CEO, author, and corporate trainer, and a renowned international speaker in the field of digital marketing, social media ROI, digital strategy, marketing research, marketing management, technology, and entrepreneurship across industries and countries. Invited by Fortune 500 companies, international and global brands, business chapters of corporate and allied institutions like IIT, IIM, Google, SP Jain, BBC Knowledge, Radio City, L&T, etc. as a keynote speaker, panel speaker, technology influencer, automobile technology design enthusiastic, among the elite panelists for tech integrated marketing, corporate trainer on the top of technology, digital marketing, digital strategy, and social media ROI. Invited by the brands as a digital and social media influencer, influencer blogger across globally, renowned brands like Tata, Honda, etc. It's a great privilege and honor for us to welcome you all to the Global Digital Marketing Summit 2017.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I think the introduction was longer than the speech that I have planned for the session. Uh, Good afternoon to everyone, to the wonderful winners, wonderful participants, and all of you, and the eminent speakers at the Global Digital Marketing Summit. It's an honor and a privilege to be sharing the same screen as all of you. I'm online live. I'm in Mumbai right now, so preoccupied with a few things. So I thought we can go live from right here. Um, Global Digital Marketing Summit. The topic that I'm planning to discuss is website traffic, user acquisition, and customer engagement. Just a quick brief about my company. My company is a digital marketing agency based out of Mumbai. We have catered to 60 plus clients in 6 countries: India, US, UK, UAE, Australia, and Spain. I'm not going to take too much of your time to talk about my company here because we have a wonderful schedule and session plan. So we're talking about digital monetization strategy in terms of driving website traffic or user acquisition using customer engagement and customer journey. So when we talk about user acquisition, the first thing that I would like to share is I would like to paraphrase the iconic and the legendary Peter Drucker himself. He said, "The purpose of any business is to create a customer." So, for any business to sustain today, you have to have customer base, you have to have a regular revenue stream. With the power and advent of digital, that has become immensely easy, I would say, because today your customers and prospects, you don't have to be specifically catering to them on a specific location. They are globally present. The world has shrunk into a global village today. So it's possible right now, as I mentioned, we cater to people across countries. So every business today has the power and the ability to reach across different users, irrespective of where they are from. The idea is the more users you have, the more user acquisition you have, higher is your brand reach, and obviously with that, more revenue. And higher revenue obviously empowers you as a business, as a brand, as an organization to reinvest in your business to get better products, better services, and deliver on time. So, user acquisition is a very important part of any business goal, especially driving traffic to your website. Now, it's not necessarily today we're going to talk only about website. When I say driving traffic, it can be driving traffic to your site, driving traffic to your app, to engage users to download your app or consume your content on the site or videos or whatever it is. At the end of the day, the idea is to enable more and more users to have higher engagement and actual conversations with your brand in real time. Now, I thought I'll share a few ideas and steps and strategies in which you, as a brand, irrespective of which industry or country that you cater to, you can enable more users using digital platforms to, come and visit your site, to build trust and consume the content of your website, irrespective of what your product or service is. Now, the first step that I would like to share here is goals. Yeah. So whenever you're working on digital platform, know your goals very well. When I say goals, let's talk about something as simple as increase in sales. That could be a goal, right? I want to increase footfalls in my restaurant. That could be a goal. I want to increase more and more users on my website. That could be a goal. But what I would suggest is the first and foremost step when you're using digital to increase website traffic or increase more users, be very specific on your goals. So when I say specific goals, so instead of just saying I want increase in sales, say I want 20% increase in sales in the next 3 months using XYZ digital strategies. So what happens is, as a brand, as an organization, as a digital marketer, when you have that specific goals, the idea behind who are your demographics, what are the strategies that you can plan, what are the platforms that you can focus on becomes very clear. Generally, the mistakes that brands, even massively huge organizations or Fortune 500 companies, sometimes when they go digital make today, the mistake that they make is they follow the reverse process. They first ask the question, which social media platform should I be in? It's very important to understand, when you're talking about website traffic or user engagement or user acquisition, that social media is not about hits, website traffic or likes or follows. It was, is, and always will be about people. People buy from people they trust. So the idea is to use digital to humanize your brand and connect with the customer within. So step one, obviously, have a very clear goal, specific timelines of what you want to achieve and how are you planning to achieve, so that you can measure and track the progress of each and every activity that you have in mind. Once you have the goal, like I said, the second step obviously is defining your audience. So let's say your demographics. You can use a concept called as buyer persona. So I'm sure a lot of you must have heard of buyer persona as a very powerful technique in which you can enable more and more users. You can connect with users for the right reasons. You can understand which user, what kind of message will a particular user be able to connect better with you. Let me give you an example. When I talk about buyer persona, they are basically fictional representations of your ideal customers. So what you do here is you take real data based on your business behavior over a period of time, or even if you're a new business, you have a lot of market analysis and customer analysis data available online for your particular industry, for your particular location, for your particular service, or even demographics that you're looking out for. So use that real data, use the customer demographics, use the buyer behavioral patterns that we say, and create an educated speculation. So when I say educated speculation, understand their personal histories, their personal motivations, their concerns as a brand. Now, what happens at this stage is when you focus on buyer persona to create a fictional representation, of your customer. Now your goals are already clear. Step one, right? So you're talking about increasing, making more and more users come back to your website or increase your user acquisition. Your goals are clear, but you need to understand your customers to really know what type of content will appeal to them, what images, what messages, what deals, what offers will appeal to them. So here again, there is a huge difference because different platforms, the type of users, or even the same user who is accessing him or her, accessing different social networking platforms or websites or apps, what happens is they engage with content very differently. They react to type of messages very differently. So what we need using buyer persona is when you create a fictional representation of that customer or that possible prospect that you have in mind, you use a shared vocabulary. Now, what do I mean when I say shared vocabulary is understanding who they are, their demographics, their interests, affinity categories, as we would like to call. When you understand these aspects, you can use this wordings in your content. You can use the deals and offers that will click with those end audiences very well. Now, it's not enough if you create unbelievably amazing content. Yeah. So there are a lot of digital marketers or brands who come to us saying that, we have been creating amazing content, but we have hardly got users on our site or use our app. The reason is because probably the kind of language or the tone that they're using, sometimes the brands go overboard and try too hard. The idea is to, be in sync with what you want to say, but at the same time understand your end audience depending on the industry or the platform that they're using. So it's very important because it gives you insights into the general demographic information of a customer from a prospect's point of view. It helps you to understand the biographical information of who, where, what, why, from where have they come, what are their goals and aspirations, what is a common behavior pattern that you can expect, as a customer or prospect when you are reaching out to them. What are their shared pain points? So when you understand buyer persona at this stage, which is very crucial, you can understand their pain points and why are you catering that particular service, and why do you believe the content that you're offering on your website, the service that you're offering on your website, or let's say even the a product that you want them to buy from your site, why would it engage with them, or why would it help them, or what problem of theirs will your product help to resolve? So that pain point areas can be made very clear once you understand this particular aspect of using any digital tool. It gets you deep insights. It enables you to create a one-on-one marketing strategy by behavior focused on individuals. So what happens is, let's say, two aspects I would like to share at this stage when we are talking about using digital to increase website traffic or get more customers on board. The idea is to build trust. So more trust you are able to build, the faster customers will end up coming your website or revisiting your website. Now there are two aspects which you can look into. Is one is buyer behavior and one is buyer persona. When you talk about buyer behavior as a whole, you can create a segment, or say that the entire segment of demographics is what I'm targeting. The age group of 18 to 24, male, and female in a particular location. That is the general process which is followed. But if you further break it down, further create a smaller funnel where you can create actually targeted audiences using buyer persona, instead of focusing on group based segmentation, you can actually create personality styles of about 6 to 8 different personality styles that we normally do as a business or a brand for really big organizations, where you can focus on individual personality traits. You can develop scenarios in which how they would react. You can develop mental modeling, qualitative buyer insights, research, and even story mapping using descriptive narratives of, let's say, I as a brand use this particular message to reach out to a customer on my website. What is the kind of response, or how much time would a particular individual spend on my reading that blog post or my website content or my page? Now, believe it or not, there are also CTAs. So CTAs are basically your call to action. So creating specific messages which will cater to specific type of users enables you to increase your call to action responses to a great deal of percentage. The idea is, the better the customer is able to understand you, the faster they trust you. The more easily they trust you, the better are your chances of enabling them to buy from your brand. So here, three main sections that you can think of when you're talking about, after finishing the first stage where you've created the goals, the second stage where you're creating the buyers, you're understanding the customer demographics to see how can you get them on your website. It basically forms into three different categories or three stages of business. One is the awareness stage. Okay, at this stage, you need to be in the same wavelength, on the same page as your end users. The second stage is the consideration stage. At this stage, what you do is you connect, engage, and you listen to the end users. At the third stage is the purchase stage, where obviously you're introducing your solution, and your idea is not only to tell them that I am there here as a brand, I'm there here to provide a product or a service, but you're here to build trust and tell them that this is the service that you're looking out for, which can cater to XYZ needs of yours. So what happens is, it's very easy to generally say that I'm going to create a lot of amazing content that's going to go viral. The idea is not to just make a content viral. The idea is to ensure that whoever is reaching out to you, whoever is coming to your website, they stay on your website for a longer period of time. Now, this brings us to a very important section called as customer journey, customer touch point. And here you create something what we term as a KRC, a knowledge resource center. So what do I mean by a knowledge resource center? So let's say you have created a website, amazing website, very interactive, very engaging, and you've used the right set of themes or widgets and applications. Would that be suffice? Would that be okay? Would that be enough for engaging the customers online today? Now, the attention span that we call it of users, earlier, even about a year ago, it was somewhere around 8 to 12 seconds when they're browsing through different websites to make sure that they end up on your site. It was 8 to 12 seconds. Now it has come down to 5 to 8 seconds. So can you imagine the impression that you have, the impact that you can create across users is 5 to 8 seconds is what you have to make sure that they are still engaging with you as a brand. So when you talk about driving website traffic, I would say never limit yourself to creating and assuming that I'll create more PPC, I'll create more Google AdWords, and everything will be fine. I'll push more content on Twitter and make users come to my website or write amazing articles. Yeah. So there is a huge amount of understanding the digital touch points, the customer journey, what we talk about, which will enable your customers to reach out to you. So here at this stage, when we're talking about let's say digital touch points, there are obviously three stages in which you can enable customers to prospects or customers, whoever it is, to come back to your site again and again. The first stage is before purchase. So at this stage, how do you make, or what are the digital technologies or tools or digital strategy that you can use to enable or empower users to keep visiting your website? The first and foremost thing at the before purchase stage, what I would suggest is reviews, ratings, stars, votes, testimonials from your past customers or users who have recently used your products and services. The amount of likes that you've generated on a particular page, RTs that you get, retweets that you get on Twitter, the number of favorites that you have, the number of comments on your blog, an online PR, and integration of PPC. So these are some of the simple ways in which to start off to engage customers to your website you can use in the before purchase stage. Now, once a customer has come to your site and made a purchase, we call it as a during purchase stage. Here again, now here a lot of brands miss out on this amazing opportunity that the customer has made a purchase once. Obviously, it depends on the industry, right? So let's say a business like or an industry like real estate, there is very less possibility that the customer keeps buying houses again and again. Although everybody would love to do that, it's a rare possibility that happens. So there are different industries depending on that. But again, let's say you want to the customers to keep coming to your website. If it's an e-commerce site, for example, you can engage them by giving them referrals, codes, gamification. So gamification is a very powerful technique in which you give instant gratification to your end users, your customers or your brand ambassadors online, and you tell them you make XYZ purchases over a period of time, and this is the benefit that you get. Or you talk about this, or you share your testimonial. Here is the merchandise you can get. So these are some simple gamification strategies by which in the during after the during purchase stage you can engage them to connect well and make upgrades or purchase more from your website. The third stage is the after purchase. Once the purchase is made, you can integrate codes, offers, discount deals, referral programs using digital invoices or let's say newsletters, service support online. Now, social media is a very powerful way in which you can help users to empower them by understanding your brand, understanding your product and service using online customer support. It can be in the form of forums, it can be in the form of chats, it can be email support or whatever it is that you can think of, or social media support, the easiest and the best way, or simple video clips that will enable them to know how to use your product or service to optimize their experience with your brand. Gratitude cards also make a amazing reach out to the users at the end. So that could be another way in which you can engage with audiences when you talk about digital marketing and social media. Now, at this stage, we have talked about just buyer personas, creating buyer personas to enable customers to come and understanding customers at this stage. Yeah. So once you have understood the customer demographics at this stage, you can decide which platform to use. So what happens at this stage is once you are able to decide on the platforms, you will know what is the kind of language and tone or message that you need to use. Now, I'm being very specific here because we have seen a lot of brands do this, a lot of digital marketers do this mistake. So what they do is they create a customized, standardized message and they push it across multiple platforms. So they might be using platforms, let's say, to give you an example, like Hootsuite. Yeah. So they will use Hootsuite, integrate multiple platforms, Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and whatnot and all those, and they'll push the same message across all those platforms. So that is a strict no. Yeah. So let me give you a simple example here. Different users, like I said, use platforms very differently, but the irony is the same user also uses content very differently across different social networking platforms. So how I would react to a particular tone or a message on Facebook would be very different to the way I would react to that same brand's message on Instagram or YouTube or Twitter, etc. So you need to be very careful at this stage, at the stage 3, to enable more and more users to come to your website using the right strategies, because the platforms will define the type of content that you're planning to decide. So at this stage, once you decide on the platform, you redefine your customer journey, your customer mapping, your digital touch point, which we just now discussed. Now, once you have defined the content, so how do you decide what is the right type of content to bring more and more users back to your site or app or blog or whatever it is? The idea or the keyword that you must have heard a million times is relevant content. Now, it's very easy to say relevant content, right? Because what do I exactly mean when I say relevant content? Do I mean relevant in terms of the prospects, in terms of the customers, in terms of the employees of the organization, the stakeholders? No. When I'm talking about content here, it needs to be relevant across all of these users. The reason why I'm saying the content needs to be engaging to all those users is, it's not only in digital today, it's not only your end customer or your prospect who is going to buy from you or keep making that purchase. Your stakeholders will voice out your, reflect the tone of your brand. Your employees empower your brand and help you build the trust. So these are all amazing ways in which you can use the existing number of users to connect with your brand, or your, bridge the gap between offline and digital together. So at this stage, it's very important to redefine the customer mapping and digital touch point. So let me rephrase that particular point. KRC, Knowledge Resource Center. So let me give you a simple example using different industries. Let's say we are talking about finance, investment banking, or mutual fund company. So they want users to invest in their mutual funds. It's as simple as that, right? So can I keep sharing as a brand, as an investment, investment company or a mutual fund company, saying that we have generated excellent results, excellent dividends, or excellent, you should check out our debt fund, or equity investment, balanced fund, and all those things. Would that be the right approach? No, because every other organization today is using digital to say the same thing. So how can you develop a KRC wherein you can encourage users to come to your website rather than you pushing the content or your ads again and again to make them click on it and come? So here there are two things, right? One is obviously your paid media, one is your organic. When organically users are coming to your site, it's a very good sign for two specific reasons. One is because your content, that means, is more viewable, more visible, and more searchable. And that is wonderful, because in today, when Google displays your website link on top, that means that it's very relevant to what the users have searched. Because I'm sure all of you must have noticed over a period of last 1 year, especially, let's say there are four of you sitting in the same location and searching for the same keyword, but each of you might end up seeing different results based on your browsing pattern, based on the website that you click. Which means more and more Google is trying to showcase search results which are relevant to based on what your possibility or probability of clicking is. Which means if you are able to organically drive traffic to your website, it's a very, very good sign that you're using the right set of keywords and key phrases to empower your users to enable or solve their issues. So talking about this, let's say, mutual fund company, rather than just pushing across the number of different types of funds that the company has, if the company is able to create a value add content, let's say simple techniques in which you could save for the future, by the time you're 30, what are the things you could do, or after you're 30, what are the things you could do. So these, they could actually look into the buyer persona which we talked about, understanding who are the different types or demographics of users that I could probably reach out to as a mutual fund organization, and create content based on their pain areas. Okay, so let's say somebody who is less than 30 years and who is, let's say, a single, or in the other case married, or having kids, and so there are different scenarios which in each category. So once they create content for these type of scenarios, what happens is, we as an end user, let's say we are a prospect and I'm just searching for easy ways to invest or save more using XYZ tools or investment opportunities. If I find your website more very comfortable, and we're giving valuable tips without actually asking me to spend money on your website, and if I find that the content that you're sharing is real value add, what happens automatically is I start building more trust with you as a brand. So at this stage, we are talking about KRC, Knowledge Resource Center, wherein your website, your brand, your organization's blog or articles or whatever it is, becomes my source of trust area, where every time I think about money or investing or finance, automatically the first thing that comes to my mind is your organization's website. So what happens at this stage? When I trust you more, the possibility of me buying into your service or your product or your message is much, much higher than any other customer. Secondly, the conversion rate is much higher and much faster too. Okay, so this is this one industry which I was talking about is, let's say, mutual funds or finance. Let's take one more case scenario and actually tell you the main difference of how you can drive more users to your website and actually convert a much larger base of customers. Let's take real estate business for example. Now, the biggest problem that you must have all observed when you see real estate business ads is you 90% of the ads feature somebody living in a room or sitting in a room or standing in the patio or the veranda or the balcony and looking into staring into oblivion. It's such a cliched poster, but majority of the ads showcase that. Or just sitting outside the pool and saying I'm enjoying the luxury and amenities that are provided with this housing facility and stuff. So again, here again, it's a very repetitive form of advertisement that you see across multitude of brands that are there, and the same messaging, the same style. Even the images sometimes are same because you have stock images which are you can purchase online. So a lot of brands are ending up using the same couples or same images online and giving a different message. So like I said, it's a very cliched way of doing business. So here again, so instead of pushing my product and service on you as a brand, what happens if I consider the pain area, if I consider the customer behavior, if I consider the buyer persona and say, what are the different types of buyers that could be looking out for buying this house? So let me take simple scenario of creating different buyer personas. Obviously, it's a very huge, long-term process of creating detailed buyer personas. To quickly share a few ideas, I'll say. So instead of just saying our house or our real estate project gives you the best facilities, you can feel like you're living in Rome or Paris or New York or New Jersey, whatever they are thinking of, pushing it across as the dream place to be. Instead of doing all that, what if you create actual stories, you create storytelling processes in your website, in your blog, by sharing real life stories. So what we did for one of our clients in this case is, instead of using these messages just talking about the locality, we actually ended up interviewing few people who have made the purchases who are into different demographics. So the first demographics we cater to is a father who's talking about his daughter's first home purchase. So that was a very powerful and emotional connect that as a father you might have had to express that my daughter bought the first house and what we went through when we were starting and looking for the house. So this was a daughter who was living abroad, who was working abroad, and she had come down to India to make her first home real estate investment. So we actually used that particular process in the storytelling format. And the idea was, once we did that, it was very easy to bring a huge amount of traffic of actual that category of users who are buying into that idea. Similarly, second type of users whom we actually interviewed and created content on the website is a young couple who have just got married. Similarly, the third section was young couple who have been married and who have a small kid. So what happens is in these two scenarios, the expectations of both the couples are very different. Even though the kind of properties that they might be looking or the locations that they might be looking might be similar or even different in that case, the outlook of what their expectations are very different. So instead of just saying you can come to this place where the international school is nearby, what if the story or the content in your website actually talks about, I was worried that my kid might have to travel a lot for the school that he or she is joining in, but when me and my husband booked the house here, we found out that the school was 10 minutes from that. So instead of pushing across from a brand's point of view, when you use UGC, that is user generated content, it resonates very well with the audiences. It's a powerful, powerful way to connect and tell users that you really care as a brand, and you want to tell the story of an actual customer rather than just pushing across saying that I have an amazing service, I have a wonderful product, which becomes, like I said, a cliched way of doing things. So that is one amazing and powerful way in which you can actually use customers to bring customers to your site using KRC, that is your knowledge resource center. Today blogging is a very powerful way in which you can develop KRC, and you can build that trust with the audiences so that they keep coming to your website. Now, like I said, the more they visit your website, the better is the trust that they build with you as a brand or as an organization. Now, so first thing is add value content. The second thing is, once you have been able to build that trust, you can use the right amount of CTAs, call to actions. at the end of every article, at the end of every post. Now here analytics plays a very crucial role. So let's take for example Google Analytics. So Google Analytics has a section called as users flow. Okay, the name itself is called users flow. Now what that does is when you check out the details within the users flow, it actually tells you how many users have come to which particular website page. Okay, so it'll tell you on stage one these many users have come to a particular section of your site, and from there they have dropped off, and the next percentage or this many users have gone to the page number two, page three, and page four, and so on. So here, what you can do is whenever you use analytics, please understand that as a digital marketer, as an organization today, analytics is not just to look at that data. The idea of analytics is to interpret that data to engage more and more users, to give them the right set of audiences, to create personalized content for your end users. Because it's not enough if you just create content and put up photographs and videos on your website anymore. People want to understand the why behind it, because there are sites, millions of sites that they can search online and go to Google and just hit out their queries and immediately get responses. So your job is to make sure that whenever they are searching for specific queries, how to guides, what to do, what is the best possible way, and xyz and so and so. So the kind of questions that they ask, the idea is to make sure that the content that you create is in sync with those particular questions. Okay, so the landing page we are talking about, the call to action. So once you understand using Google Analytics that, let's say on my page number two, just to give you an example, my page number two of my website has n number of users compared to all of the other pages. So there are two things you need to understand at this stage to make sure that you drive more traffic, you increase your user base, whether it's subscribing users on your website, or creating more and more users to make purchases or stay on your website for a longer time, whatever it is. At this stage, Google Analytics will enable to tell you that because on page number two there are maximum users coming on your website and staying for a longer period of time compared to the other pages, you can do two amazing things. One is replicate the content that is there on that particular page across other pages. Now I'll be very specific here. When I say replicate, I don't mean duplicate the content, yeah, because the more you duplicate, the poorer your SEO rankings will be. The idea is the style, maybe the topics that you have used, maybe the categories that you're talking about, that you could replicate. Or maybe if there's a specific pattern that you see on your website, page number two, where you see that there is blog post snippets available, then there is a small quick video, maybe there is some Twitter feeds or some Facebook feeds which are going live. Maybe that is engaging more users to come to your website. So understand the style, the content topic, the category of the topic which is discussed on those pages, and try to replicate that across other pages. Step one. The second thing that you can do is increase the actual CTA. So call to action. So including a phone number or a quick form where they can immediately put in their name, or a subscribe button, an email subscribe button. So these are some of the things that you can definitely do on that particular page, understanding the Google Analytics to make sure that the kind of audiences that end up on your website keep coming more and more on your website. Because it's as this simple code goes: if something is working, make sure you do more of it. So as simple as that. So at this stage, you have created a KRC, you have created valuable content, you have created a powerful landing page which has a good CTA, a call to action. Now, at this stage, what you can keep doing is, once you have convinced the prospect to trust you as a brand, trust you for your content that you're providing, trust your value add services, use social media marketing at this stage, because your SEO is already now in place, correct? So, using the right amount of videos, using the right amount of updates, using the right amount of blog articles, your organic SEO is automatically high. Your page rankings goes up. Your keywords, the right reasons for which people are searching and landing up on your website also goes up. So at this stage, it is very crucial that once you've created that level of amazing content on your site, use social media marketing to promote that particular content across multiple platforms. Now, at this stage, is it necessary that you need to be on every social networking site? Not at all. Yeah. So, in fact, I would always suggest that the idea is not to be on every social networking site, rather, be on sites which make sense for your end users or customers. So let me ask you a simple question. Let's say you're a health, mental wellness and health, or an industry or a business which is catering to people suffering from mental health or depression. Now, this actually happened. So there was this, I think about a year ago, we were browsing few sites online, and we actually came across this particular brand which posted on its Facebook page, and I'm not joking on this. We were shocked when we saw this. They had actually posted on their Facebook page, and this is a company which caters to mental health and wellness. They had written that people suffering, if you are suffering from mental health or wellness, if you know somebody who is suffering, comment and we will give you a discount code and your first consultation is free. Now that is such an offensive thing to write on a public platform because the subject matter is so sensitive in nature. So just because everybody is on Facebook doesn't mean that is the right platform, right? So that not does not necessarily mean that is the right audiences where you can expect users to engage with your brand. So here again, it's important to note and keep in mind that just because there are over billion users on a particular site doesn't mean that will appeal or you can ask users to engage with you on a brand. Rather, what would be the better option here? You can give them email newsletter subscription option where they can write to you directly or Facebook Messenger itself. Yeah, they can actually drop in a message to you directly so that publicly it doesn't come across. Similarly, for investment banking and financial institutions, nobody wants to publicly put across saying that I want to invest $1 million or 5 crore rupees for that matter on a public platform. Rather, they would want to have a one-on-one conversation to find out what are the services possible. Similarly, for mental health and wellness industry. So at this stage, using social media marketing across specific platforms for the right approach, not because you are comfortable as a brand on that platform, rather because your end users are comfortable coming on that website. So that is extremely crucial at this stage. Second thing that you can think of is, once your end users are using that particular site or content, you can understand whether integrating that into your website will make a difference. So generally speaking, yes. So if you have an active Twitter feed, if you have an active Facebook post, I would always suggest as a brand, as an organization, as a digital marketer, empower that content within your website. Now, why is that very crucial? Is because if your posts and feeds are constantly updated, and we earlier just few minutes ago we discussed that your Google Analytics will help you understand whether a particular brand or a service is able to cater to your business for the right reasons. So here what happens is you can actually understand and say, because every user is coming to my page number 2 more frequently than anything else, I would love to integrate my social feed so that they know that I'm active on these kind of, as a brand, as an organization, we are active on these social networking platforms. The reason is very simple. If they have a query, if they want to reach out to you, if they want to understand that how can you empower their services as a service, if you do something better to them or help them out to use your products and services much more easily, what are the platforms in which they can reach out to you? That is very crucial today because there are a lot of brands which utilize Twitter very amazingly well when it comes to social networking support or customer support. Similarly, Facebook for certain type of brands. So it is very crucial to use social media marketing at this stage when you have the right content for the right reasons, keeping in mind the goals that you have in mind. Once you have integrated both of it, you can focus on further other simple techniques and strategies which will enable you to bring and drive more traffic to your website. Now, one of the key things which you must have heard or seen of late, which is very popular, is influencer marketing. Okay, so when I say influencer marketing, it's very well known today that you can use two type of influencers. One is the influencers who are already popular, who are actual celebrities, who are there in movies or sports personalities, famous personalities, or famous personalities across specific industries. The second type of influencer that you can use is these are social media influencers who are specialized in that particular industry and field. Now, here it's very, very important, irrespective of whether you're choosing a celebrity to endorse your brand or product or service, or you want to use social media influencers to represent you, to drive traffic to your website. So, what I'm going to do is before we wrap up for the day, I'm going to share a wonderful case study with all of you today. Three case studies specifically of what we did with few of our clients to achieve website traffic and actually sales conversions also. So before that, I thought I'll quickly share a few ideas in which we can keep in mind. So influencer marketing, like I said, it's very crucial that the person is not only a social media influencer, is not only he or she is active or very well known on Facebook or blog or Twitter, but they represent and they can do justice for your industry, for your demographic audiences. Now, to give you a simple example of a huge disaster of representing the wrong person is obviously the first thing that comes to I think all of our minds is Pierce Brosnan representing for that particular brand, right? Something to do with some pan masala or something of that sort. That was a very, very wrong choice of brand ambassador. coming online and representing for the brand for two main reasons. Firstly, there is a massively huge disconnect for that particular celebrity to endorse a particular product like that. Second biggest issue that happened is Pierce Brosnan is an active spokesman for cancer research. So for that particular brand to be associated with him was a huge crime as a brand. So there was a huge you know um, problem that the social media backlash, as we would call, that happened. So in similar cases, there are many other incidences in which the social media policy went awry or completely failed because they did not connect the right influencers to represent or speak for that brand. So that's extremely crucial when you're choosing an influencer marketing strategy. Further down, once you are comfortable, when you've created an amazing content where you know that I can have more and more users coming to my site, I can actually see the Google Analytics that okay, I have increase in 25% in the last 15 days on my website traffic, and the right set of demographics are also there. So let me give you an example. Your Google Analytics showcases that Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Coimbatore is the different cities that are on the top visitors list. Now, if you're e-commerce site, if you're a business, and it tells you that instead of Mumbai being the number one for your website, your actual sales is happening from, let's say, Coimbatore. So you need to focus on the strategy so that the content reaches out to users and bring more and more users from Coimbatore itself. Unless your idea is to engage and bring more users from across different cities and shift from one particular base. So content strategy can also enable you to bring users across specific demographics. Now, how you can do that is at this stage, understanding the buyer persona, what we discussed. There you understand their goals, aspirations, challenges that they might face as an end user. And what happens is once you understand the customers well, you can speak their language. You speak the jargon, which I mentioned, like shared vocabulary. Yeah. So when your message resonates, talking about their local events or the things that are happening around that area, more and more users who are searching for those kind of events in that location enter up and come to your website. It's a very simple process to do. It's as simple as that. The particular field, topic, or the location or event that you talk about, the chances are people searching for those locations will end up on your site more. It's as simple as that. Okay, so you can use content in the right way using the right strategies. The further thing is once you are comfortable using all of these, you can focus on PPC, your pay per click. So let's say your Google AdWords, your Facebook ads, So how does PPC enable you to drive more traffic? It's as simple as saying, you use, let's say, Google AdWords search network to create campaigns, and you use specific keywords. You redirect users to your landing page, or you use display network ads of Google, and you create using video ads, and you bring users to see your content, increase your branding, and click on your website and come to your landing page. So PPC at this stage can be very useful to make sure that users are coming to your site. But I would suggest as a brand in the long term, don't keep PPC as the sole focus or the sole strategy, because at the end you're going to be spending a lot of money. Eventually, as a brand, as a digital agency or a digital marketer of an organization, your goal should be always to make sure that your content, the quality of the content, the relevance of the content of your website is such that your organic reach is always much higher than your paid reach. So that will help you sustain in the long run also as a brand, increase your SEO, and empower you as a business to build trust. Because the more people keep seeing your name whenever they search for a particular brand, the better are the chances that your brand and your it will resonate with you as an end user. So I thought I'll quickly wrap up. I hope all of you found the ideas and the points useful that we discussed so far. And feel free to reach me. I'm accessible easily around any of these social networking platforms, and they're on anantp.com. And it's been a privilege and an honor to be a part of Global Digital Marketing Summit live from Mumbai, at least today. Wonderful connecting with all of you. Thank you so much.